and thank you for joining us here on the Neutral Zone. I am Phil Milani, joined as always by my partner in crime, my esteemed colleague. Really, the best way to describe this person's my everything. It's at Eric Dalala.
Phil, great to be with you.
This just feels right, doesn't it?
It feels nice to be back. We got some sun last week. We got more than a little bit of content.
Oh, we got a lot of content.
Too much content. If we had a wheelbarrow full of content,
bring it back.
Too much.
Yeah.
But now we're back in our normal podcast studio, Phil.
We're back in the studio. We got our quarter zips on.
Yep.
Not just that, Eric.
What?
It's the return of Ben Swanson. I'm back, baby. And so is the flannel.
Yeah,
the flannel
had to be back.
Swanson, how was your 6-week vacation?
God, it felt like half a week most.
You went to some remote island in the middle of nowhere, right?
Darkness retreat.
Savannah, Georgia.
Oh,
Georgia. Let's not make fun of my home area, Swanson.
Yeah, exactly. How far is that from Atlanta?
Far.
I don't know.
Far is the answer.
Yeah, it's far.
I think it's like 3 hours.
God, I wish I was there right now.
Yeah.
In Atlanta? That'd be nice.
Wherever,
nice.
Anywhere but here.
Oh, wow.
Ben, we don't do that negativity on this show.
Yeah.
We're a positive podcast.
This is a positive podcast. Really, it's a neutral podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it leans positive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
positively
podcast. Swanson's trying to lose his microphone privileges.
Yeah. Swanson, this is your first time back. The fans are excited that you're back. And you're just...
Why do you think I'm a fan favorite?
You went to negative town.
I'm a fan favorite.
I think they feel for you.
They just feel bad for you. Yeah, exactly.
It's like you see like 12 Goslings cross the road and one of them gets left behind on the other side.
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah. 12 of the Gosling family.
Got it.
And
then one.
And then me.
And a little baby goose is just over there. And someone's like, oh, we should help Swanson.
Not a Gosling. Swanson's not a Gosling. Swanson's a Gosling?
Yes.
Or no? Oh,
he's the last Gosling that gets left behind.
Oh, got it. That is a sad story.
Yeah.
Poor Swanson.
And I'm like, gosh, I like that Gosling the best. They just feel bad.
Got it. I see. So they feel bad for you.
That's fine. Some people hate you, so this is better than that.
That's true. That is true.
Better to be pitied than hated. That's what they say.
You know, the breathing is an issue sometimes for me, but at least my hair looks right.
That's true.
You know, and that's what's most important.
That's what's important.
We got a great show in store for NZ Nation. Not only is it the return of Ben Swanson, but soon we'll have the return of the players.
Wow.
You like how I did that?
That was nice.
That was pretty good, I think. Allegedly, the offseason program is going to begin maybe next week.
Yes, Phil. The NFL put out some dates, and April 11th is the start of the Broncos offseason program. Can start a little bit earlier with a new head coach, as we unfortunately know here from the last couple of years. And the Broncos voluntarily will get back to work here soon.
Yes, they will be. And they're going to get in the weight room.
Yep.
They're going to do some conditioning.
Yep.
And I think that Broncos head coach Sean Payton really set the tone while at the owners' meetings in Phoenix.
He did. He really did. They, as we'll discuss, kind of the old way of doing things, Phil, and maybe a new way of doing things in terms of what's important, what he expects, the standard, the culture, all that good stuff.
So maybe we could talk a little bit about just what the Broncos hope to achieve with this first phase, and then maybe overall the offseason program.
Of course. Yeah.
It's going to be an important summer here for the Broncos.
That's right.
And it all starts next week. Well, it really has already begun for the coaching staff.
Sure.
But for the players, if they come back for the voluntary workouts, it starts next week.
Starts soon.
Eric, before we get to that, though, let's talk about how this is an interactive podcast.
That's right. We let a fan into the studio to join us every now and then.
Won a contest.
So that's kind of nice. Also, you can send us an email at neutralzoneshow@gmail.com. Phil, you can leave a voicemail, 707-NEUTRAL. We got one of those coming up a little later on. Yep, we referenced it last week. We teased it.
And now we're delivering it. You can track it. We'll provide a tracking number.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll deliver it.
It's out for delivery.
It's out for delivery.
Yeah. Phil, you could tweet at us directly at Eric Dalala with an A, at Phil Milani with a PH.
Non-traditional spellings.
Correct. Or, Phil, one of our favorite ways,
It's really my favorite way.
Your
It
favorite
really
way. Is you could leave a comment directly on our YouTube page.
I love that community.
We read the comments. We read some of them right here on the air. And that's what you're going to do.
We're going to do
Right now.
Right now. AA says, you guys have grown on me like a fungus, but a good one.
I love a good fungus.
What is that? The Last of Us?
One.
Last
Yeah,
of
no,
Us?
That's a bad one.
Ooh, spoiler.
Is
That
it
show. Bad.
Last of Us? I don't know. J. Prez Bronk. J. Prez Bronk. Is Eric a golfer? Phil, question mark.
What?
I think is Eric a golfer? Is Phil a
Comma?
golfer?
Oh.
What's the handicap looking like? DB4L. I think that means for life.
Nothing
I
gets
think for
past
life.
you.
Yeah.
Astute.
I think that I put.
What do you think the DB means, huh?
I put these all together and I determined that. What's the handicap looking like, Eric?
Oh.
How is it?
Probably not going to be playing Augusta this year, but hopefully
You
next
won't be.
year.
How many
like
more
it, though.
Augustas do you have in you?
Probably a couple less than Tiger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Got it. I would say that if I've played a little bit, I'm like a bogey golfer. I would say.
Yeah.
If I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
If I'm out of the zone, I'm like a triple bogey golfer.
You
So if you're playing well,
you do the
Well, like
do
if
the-
I played a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm a bogey golfer.
hard for the back though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not a natural motion. I'll say that.
No.
But if I get loosened up,
You kind of do the Happy Gilmore.
do
You
you
just
go?
hit it hard.
no,
Far.
what? I try.
straight up in the air.
I try
In
to
the
have some touch around the green a little bit.
That's true. The
Yeah,
last time we played
sometimes a
with
little
Phil,
too high.
you go right up.
Yeah. Blast it.
Toward the sky.
Yeah. There's less resistance up there, you know? That's what I go for.
That's true.
So that was a nice one. Flicky TV. Eric in shorts, naughty. Naughty. Yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it was a
Eric?
family-friendly
You were-
podcast.
You were wearing shorts last
The
week.
shorts were a nice length.
I think so. I feel like that's nice.
You know what they do say? Skies out, thighs out.
Yeah. Trees don't grow in the shade.
Yeah.
So
Tree trunks.
tree trunks. ERS Rocky. Hey guys, love the show. Watch all the time. Phil Milani, you say you know how to talk, but I feel like you say that every show. Uh-oh.
True.
Start having a beer on a stand between you guys, and that way you can blame it on the alcohol. Keep up the great show, guys.
That's what we do
Sometimes we do that.
every Monday night
Yeah,
at Breckenridge
exactly.
Brewery's farm home in Littleton in the season.
Yeah, during the season.
This guy, what
So
is going
technical,
on?
Yeah, and kind of down
Critical.
a little bit. Yeah. Jeremy says, great show, Eric and Phil.
Thank you.
And then
Jeremy's nice.
Luis Rodriguez. I have so many Broncos podcasts that I watch, but every time you two come on, I watch the whole thing.
Thank you for spending 3 hours
That
every
was-
week.
That was a nice one. Yes, thank you, Luis. Broncos fan 1968.
What do you think the 68 stands for?
Probably when they were born.
Okay.
Oh, I think, but who knows?
Maybe that was their favorite Broncos season.
I doubt it. Based off of my knowledge of the 60s.
Of the team, yeah.
Yeah. Not... So much great information this week, but no time for the rambling. Hilarious banter at the start of the show is my favorite part of the show. Hopefully it'll be back next week.
Well, we didn't do
It's
enough
back.
bantering.
It's back. Yeah, last week was not.
It's hard to keep everybody happy, you know?
And then the last one here, also from Jeremy. If the Broncos get a new I read one from Jeremy.
I know,
right?
double comment.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice.
If the Broncos get a new stadium with a retractable roof, I hope they use real grass instead of turf. That's kind of an interesting thought. They do that in Arizona, of course. They had some issues during the Super Bowl this
Yeah.
time.
They overwatered it, right?
I don't know what the issue was.
That was
there.
the former turf guy kind of went off.
Oh, really?
Sod
Yeah.
father.
Oh.
The sod father. Yeah.
Dang, I missed that.
Yeah.
What did he say, Swanson? The sod father.
I think he said they overwatered it, so it was
Too
too
much.
long. And
Oh, like a Northwestern situation.
He was like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. He did a terrible job. I mean, he
Uh-oh.
went worth looking up.
He went after him a little
Yeah.
bit, huh?
I
I
would
do
say-
like the real grass, though.
I would say as far as like turf
like that.
disputes go, it was near the top.
Really?
Yeah.
thank you for all the YouTube comments. We've got a special shout out for one of our fans coming up later on in the show.
A new fan, potentially.
A new fan, potentially.
Phil,
That's the power of the sticker.
Yeah, I will say, just in case people don't make it through.
All the way?
Yeah. Or should I save it? I've got a nice little tidbit, but should I save it? Or
No.
The last episode, well, not the last episode, but a recent episode of the Neutral Zone, Phil, where we recapped free agency.
Uh-huh.
It was our best performing Neutral Zone episode of all time.
It overperformed?
It overperformed by a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
So thank you to NZ Nation.
It almost crashed Apple Podcasts, I think.
Really?
But thank you to NZ Nation for...
It was like Smartless and then us that week.
I think we were ahead of Smartless, but behind Conan.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, it's hard to win. It's hard to win.
Something to reach for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get a taste of success, you want a little bit more.
So we had a lot of comments that week that were like, what is this? I think that helps explain. There were so many people.
What is the Neutral Zone?
Yeah. Who are these guys?
They
know now.
New listeners. Now they know.
They know.
Do you think we kept them?
Yes, every single one of them.
Yeah, you get a taste of this.
Well,
and
maybe one left.
You want the whole meal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a buffet. It just goes on forever.
Yeah.
It's full of empty calories.
But unlike a buffet at the end, you're happy with your decisions.
I think there's a buffet. I think you could go to a buffet and be happy. You don't think so?
Well, I think you overdo it a little.
Oh, got it.
Like maybe you're like, I shouldn't have had like my 20th crab leg.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like 20 was too much. I should have stopped.
You eat a W or no?
Yeah, a W sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Jameis.
Oh.
You remember when Jameis had his W?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you were referring to, right?
I was just suggesting things you could eat.
Oh, God.
On a buffet.
Yeah.
You know?
Usually you do some dessert.
That's right.
You know, maybe, afterward, you're just sort of like, I think I went too far.
I'm done. Yeah.
So, but at the end of this, you're happy. You're like, that was good. Yeah. Subscribe.
Speaking of going too far, should we move along?
Oh, you think that was too far? Okay. All right. Well, let's get into our the most important topic on this show. And that's what the Broncos are hoping to achieve during the offseason program here. The players, according to the dates the NFL put out, can voluntarily return to the facility next week. And according to Sean Payton, that means it's going to be a lot of lifting and conditioning for those guys.
Yeah. So you're kind of ready, right?
I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. I'm always in season.
Yeah. I don't know if they can handle your workout regimen.
No, but I've been talking with the new strength staff over there.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like, this is how I like to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we could ease the guys into this.
They all kind of gathered around and like marveled at you. They'd never seen something that looks quite like you.
The sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, did we find Bigfoot?
Like, where were you designed?
Exactly.
They say stuff like that to me.
Yeah. Like,
you know, like,
that hair.
Were you
carved out of marble?
Were you born?
And why did they carve you like that?
Were you born in a lab?
You said that one already.
I said designed.
Oh, got it.
Could be different.
Design in a lab, born not in a lab.
No, I'm born in the lab. I designed.
You go back to the lab?
In the office. Yeah. No,
you got to get back in the lab.
When you're born in the lab, you don't have to ever go back. That's always peak condition.
Darkness in there.
Little routine maintenance, and you're ready to go.
You born in the darkness, or
yeah,
I
exactly.
think I heard
just adopted it,
right? Yeah.
But so I'll show those guys a few things if they need me. I'm ready. I'm willing and available.
That's good.
Yeah.
Phil, I think we look at the offseason program, and at least my normal reaction is, okay, when do we get to football, right?
Get out on the field.
When do we get to see touchdowns, as you like to?
I like the easy plays. I'm like, okay, are we going to put some of those in?
We're gonna do some touchdowns or no?
You install the playbook.
Uh-huh.
That's what I usually like to see.
You like that?
Yeah. Yep. And then I like to be like, how much of it is installed?
Yep.
Where are you guys right now in the installation?
And then surprised at the beginning of training camp, they go back to the beginning and they do it again.
They do like to do
every year. People are surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they'll catch on eventually.
Like, but how's Russ picking up the playbook? Those are my kind of questions.
Those are your questions.
Yeah,
I think that stuff is important. And in due time, I think we'll get there. I think there have been times over the last few years, and certainly with teams that have struggled in general, you skip steps sometimes.
too excited to get.
Or you look ahead to, you say you're going day by day, you say you're approaching the right things, but you're excited about, getting on the field and doing these things. You're excited about getting to training camp, about that first preseason game. We talked a lot last year, Phil, about the hype and Super Bowls and playoffs and hosting AFC championship games. And there was maybe not as much focus on here's what you got to accomplish each day. And when Sean Payton got here, he said, we are going to focus each day on being a little bit better than we were the day before. We're going to focus on putting the work in. Greg Penner, Phil, he talked about the culture, the process,
the journey,
all of that. And so, if I were going into this program, I might think, all right, well, they're going to lift a little bit, they're going to run, and then we'll see the real stuff. It's clear from hearing from Sean Payton, Phil, that first part of it, the running, the lifting, is in getting your bodies in shape to play football is as important as anything else that they'll do. Because if you don't do that right, you don't set a good foundation and you can't move forward to the next step of the process. And they are not going to skip steps here.
Yeah. I mean, I got a few things to say about that. One,
sure,
with regard to last year, I think when you get an exciting player in the offseason, you are really sort of antsy to see that player put on the uniform, get out onto the field, and put on display what they do. You're excited. Like the first time we saw Russ put on that blue jersey and throw the ball, it was like, wow, he's here.
Yeah.
He's him.
Yep.
And you're excited about that. But the move for the Broncos this offseason was the new head coach. And I think when that's your big move in the offseason, it's about setting a tone, a new standard. A lot of people say culture, but I do think it'll be important for Sean Payton to let these guys know, look, things are different now. This is the way things have been in the past year. It's not going to be that way anymore. We're going to start doing things my way. And I think a big part of what the Broncos are trying to do this offseason is be more physical, be in good shape. The free agent moves they brought in a lot of athletes. They brought in some big guys, some strong guys. They want to be more physical, I think. They want to be in good shape. They want to be well conditioned. And, I think that when you look back at last season, Eric, so much went wrong for the Broncos. As Sean Payton likes to say, a lot of dirt.
Where's the dirt?
Not on faces. Where is it?
Nope.
Where's it? On their hands.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirt everywhere.
Okay.
What? Anyways, there's a lot of blame to go around, I think is the way is what he means.
I think you
I know what he means.
You picked that up nicely.
Yeah, I got it.
What he put down, you picked up.
I think one of the problems, though, was the injuries. I mean, this team was banged up, Eric. And so, yeah, if you put in the work now and really focus on getting the body built up and ready to go to play football, Sean Payton was asked, hey, are the starters going to play in the preseason? He said, yeah, last time I checked, we played tackle football. We got to get ready to play tackle football.
Yep.
So getting stronger and being in good shape, you would think that would hopefully lead to more injury prevention. That's the thinking, at least, Eric. And so it makes sense for this team, as banged up as they were last year, to really make that a priority so that they could try to avoid some of those injuries this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's like a philosophical approach here.
What was that?
A philosophical approach here of, and there's like a tangible goal here too. The tangible goal is, hey, let's take this seriously so that we avoid injuries, so that we don't have guys that have, soft tissue injuries, or that are, not ready to go when we get to the season, or they're playing their way into shape at a certain point. That's the tangible part of it, right? I do think there is that philosophical, or kind of like a more harder to just contextualize. It's about taking things more seriously and appreciating the details and setting the tone.
Yeah.
So, you can have certainly the tangible benefit of, fewer injuries because you're in better shape and you're taking these things more seriously. But I also think there's got to be a shift in a mindset in terms of
here to work.
How are we approaching things? Yeah. Are we just kind of mailing these days in? Are we Are we not taking advantage of our time in the gym? Or are we going in there and every minute in there, we're making sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to put together a winning football team, to catch the Kansas City Chiefs, to make it back to the playoffs, all those things. So there's a mindset element of it too. And, Phil, you talk about, hey, Russell Wilson was here last season. People are excited. They want to see him on the field. That's fine from a fan perspective, I think. And even I understand the media desire to cover it that way. But the team cannot get caught in thinking the same way that fans do. And so I think part of Sean Payton being here and his approach and the day-by-day sort of thing and focusing on the details. And we're not going to, last year there was no 9-on-7. There was no 7-on-7. There was no 1-on-1.
That's not real football.
Right. That was the message last year. Sean, I think, said that's not how I'm familiar with really doing things. That's not how I operate. There is the team's mentality has to be different. It has to be about work. And I think if you, like I think of New England, who for a long time has had success, obviously since Tom Brady's left, it hasn't been quite to the same level, but still you look at them, you look at the Steelers, who they're just always around.
Yeah.
And I think of like writers and fans who are like, oh, what's going to happen here? Is Mac Jones going to be a star? Is Kenny Pickett going to start? Blah, blah, blah. And these coaches and these players are just so truly focused on one day and that next task in hand that I think eliminating those distractions are part of what makes those teams' cultures so good. And the Broncos are trying to get back to that.
Yeah. I think it's easy to look back at last year and be like, that didn't work. That way's bad. But I think it's just there's just differing approaches on how to do this all around the league. I mean, obviously Nathaniel Hackett learned that from Green Bay and they've done pretty well, so like, I don't know if you just say that way is bad, because obviously what Hackett was trying to do was say, hey, I'm a player's coach. I like to have fun, like there was a basketball hoops in the team meeting and like they were rewarding guys with little prizes, from Amazon and stuff. That was the approach that they took. That didn't really work for this Broncos team. I think that's clear. And Sean Payton comes from a more old school mentality. Now, I think that Sean will, like with the way that he's going to scheme the offensive stuff, he's very adaptable and he likes to adjust and he's with the current times with the offensive scheming. But like in terms of preparing for a season and getting ready to work and what practice means and that kind of stuff, he's very much from that Bill Parcells tree, where this is how we get ready for the season. And I agree with you, Eric. It's much more. It's more than just hardening the body; it's hardening the mind too.
Yep.
And I think that you got to come in here and maybe more so than down the line when he's been here for a while and everybody on the team is sort of like, this is the standard. This offseason, it's definitely a lot about, hey, here's how things are going to be different with me as head coach.
Right. And, I think you look at some of these other teams that do things that way and there's a combo, they still practice hard. There are times when, I would say generally these teams have had success. The Broncos are just in a position where they've not had a lot of success. There are guys who have not won a lot before. And I asked George Payton about that last week, Phil, when we were down in Arizona. How much can Sean help those guys that don't have the foundation there of what it takes to win in the NFL? And he agreed that, he did say, hey, some of these guys have won in college or won at their previous stops, but part of it is Sean can help them learn what it takes to win football games. And it just seems like where this Broncos team is now, they need that tough love coaching. Yeah. And I think the offseason program is a great time to set that standard. And obviously, guys are going to come in here. They're going to hear from, it's hard to believe, but just the way the NFL set up, there's been no first team meeting. These guys have not heard from Sean Payton, even though we've spent months now talking about what he's going to do for the Broncos. Mm-hmm. He's not had all those guys in a room. And so it's an opportunity just to set the tone with the first team meeting. It's the opportunity to talk about the importance of phase one, the opportunity to talk about getting your bodies right and learning the playbook and all these things that over the course of the next, couple months, the Broncos are going to try to do in this offseason program. And so this is a critical time. And I know we won't play football games here for months and months and months, and we don't even know the schedule yet. But I do think in terms of how the 2023 Broncos are going to shape up, this is an important juncture.
Most definitely. I mean, this is a critical time where he's going to instill his beliefs with this team here. An interesting thing, Eric, is like we talk about how they're going to get to work and there's going to be some of this tough love. From an outsider's perspective, when you think about New Orleans, it always seemed like they were having fun, and so I'm sort of interested to see how this thing flows here a little bit. Like, is it going to be the tough love at the beginning where he's instilling the culture and his demands on the team, and then once they've got that down and maybe they get a couple wins under their belt, maybe then it's a little bit more like, hey, winning's fun, isn't it? Here, let's work hard and then also play hard here. And I'm just from an outsider's perspective, you think about them celebrating in the locker room there. You hear like players who've played for Sean Payton in the past and how much respect they have for him, how much they enjoyed playing for him. I just think like Emmanuel Sanders, when the Broncos signed Sean Payton, traded for Sean Payton, hired Sean Payton. What did they do?
They hired him.
Yeah, they've acquired his services. He just talked about how much he enjoyed his time there in New Orleans and how much respect he has for Sean Payton. So I'm sort of interested to just see how things move along as the season progresses.
Yeah, I mean, I think two things there. One, I agree with you. Winning is fun, right? Yeah. And it doesn't matter how much fun you have in the offseason or how much fun you have in training camp. If you don't win football games, you're not going to have fun when the season gets there. And these guys, I would guess, especially this is kind of speculation, but guys like Justin Simmons,
they want to win,
that have been here for a long time and not won. Cortland Sutton. If you said, "Hey, do you want to have fun or do you want to win?" Not that those have to be mutually exclusive, but if you pose those two options, I would be shocked if they're not saying, "I want to win football games. I want to make the playoffs."
Yeah.
Going to the playoffs is fun.
That's fun.
So that's one element of it. I would also say, Phil, you talk about being interested to see what it's like. I'll be interested to see how much we know about what that relationship is like. Obviously, Sean Payton has been, he's talked about how there'll be times where he's going to talk with the media, but certainly there are things that he's been like, we're not going to talk about those things. I'm not going to get into that.
Injuries, that kind of stuff.
And so there have not been leaks from this building, during the coaching search. People were like, what has taken so long? And then boom, the next day, here's 18 coaches that have been hired. And so I'll be interested to see how much does he talk about that, or how much do guys talk about what goes on
behind closed doors?
Yeah, inside the training facility. And, is it, obviously we haven't seen the behind the scenes videos where it's like, oh, here's what Sean Payton's first day on the job looks like. So you just kind of wonder how much of that is just going to be kept under wraps and be kind of something that's between him and the team. And there's nothing necessarily bad about that, I don't think.
No, I don't think
it'll
so.
just be interesting to watch because, some teams do these all access shows or, coaches will go into a bunch of stuff with the media.
Coach Prime has a camera.
Exactly. Coach Prime is everywhere at all times.
Documentary.
It doesn't seem like that's kind of
that's
the
not
way
what Sean
things
Payton's
are going to be.
No.
He's about work. He talked about being anonymous donors, being a little more quiet on social media. So all those things. So he could come in. We might not have any idea what his message is to the team.
Yeah, of course not.
I'm not sure when he's going to talk to the media next, but when he does, he could get a question. Hey, what was your message to the team? And he could choose to tell us, or he could say that's going to be between me and them.
Yeah, when I asked him, I said, "Hey, what's your message going to be to the team when he comes back? When they all come back?" And he said, "We're going to lift weights and we're going to get in shape here."
Yeah,
nothing about what a message is. So,
right. So I'll just be interested to see how much we might get little pieces here and there, but I don't.
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that, like when you talk to Peter King, he says, "I've learned the most football from Sean Payton." So maybe more about process, maybe more about like actual football, what we've seen out on the field. Maybe that's what more of the conversation is going to be like versus what's going on inside meeting rooms or like relationships, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I think when you've not had success, being quiet and putting your head down and working is the right approach generally.
Yeah.
And so we'll just have to see how that.
Yeah. And when things haven't gone well, you tend to want to do things differently.
Yes,
So you switch it up and say, hey, that wasn't working. Let's try this side of it. And
absolutely.
and I think that like Sean has got a good mix of like, Vic Fangio was very old school and the way he did everything. But it seemed like Sean's not quite like, he's just got a different personality than that. Like I don't think you can just put these guys in and brand them like, hey, this guy is just about hard work or like this. It seems like there's genuinely like a good mix there with Coach Payton.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So,
these guys have their own personalities, their own process.
Yeah. Like you talk to Steve Atwater and he, just talking about Mike Shanahan and he's like, hey, guys like really worked hard and he set this sort of like intimidating standard of like what's expected. But then when it was time to have fun, there was also the reward part of it. And it was fun playing for him. I definitely see some similarities there to Sean Payton.
Yeah. Again, winning is fun. We've said it already. I think we'll say it probably.
Mike Shanahan won a lot, huh?
Yeah, that was fun.
I think that was fun.
That was fun.
Eric, as they move through the off-season program here, after they do the conditioning and the weightlifting and the fill time, let's just call that the fill time.
Okay.
After they get past fill time. Yeah, PHIL.
Not FILL. Let's be clear. You're not saying just the fill time.
No. I'm saying
fill
time. After they get past that, what do you think is going to be crucial here for them as they start to introduce field work and stuff like just a sort of an overall thoughts on just what's important that they get done this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of, I mentioned a little bit before, but learning the offense, learning the defense, finding who plays well where. I think it's going to be about players being willing to kind of buy in. I mean, hey, am I willing to run as hard as I possibly can? Am I willing to, buy into this phase 2 practice as much as I possibly can to get the most out of it? Those things are important. And then obviously you want to work in guys like Zach Allen and Mike McGlinchey and Ben Powers, Tim Patrick. If you get him back at that point, you want to be able to work him back into the offense. Get a lot of these injured guys that didn't play last year back in the fold. Those are all important things, but I truly think it's less about individual tangible goals or this guy doing this or this guy doing that, and more about just, hey, can we buy into this idea of work and taking things a day at a time and respecting the process. And, those are things you hear from successful organizations. Respect the process, do your job one day at a time. Like
respect the process, or do you trust it?
I think you can do both.
You do a little of both.
Yeah.
A lot of both, maybe.
A lot of both.
You do a lot of both. Yeah.
And so you don't like to trust the process given your allegiances.
Correct.
But respecting the process, maybe.
I'm all about that.
Yeah. Trusting, no. So yeah, I mean, and I'm sure we'll talk about it when we hear from guys. How does Vance Joseph use Pat Surtain? How does Zach Allen fit in? How do these draft picks acclimate once
who's going to take a jump?
Yeah, exactly. All those things are important. But I think you really get a sense of that more in training camp when you're going full speed. And so in the offseason, just does the attitude of this team shift?
Yeah.
That's what's important to me, because I do think, like you said, teams can have different attitudes. Some years you've got to take different approaches. This team, I think, needs to just have a little bit of a change in mindset here. And so I'll be looking for that.
And there's a lot of change, from the weight room to Vance Joseph to Sean Payton. Everything is different.
Yep.
How quickly can everything sort of everybody get on the same page and get this thing going, Like last year, everybody was like, oh, it's Russ's first year in Denver. Like, how fast can he get the change? There's a lot of change that's taking place this offseason, and how fast can everything come together? And is this thing going to be a smooth operation by the end of the offseason? And more importantly, once training camp gets going. So.
Yeah, I think the thing here is just patience and understand that this is about, in my mind at least, and it sounds like from hearing from the Broncos decision makers, Sean Payton, when he got here and was asked about expectation, he was like, we're going to win. I'm not going to tell you how much we're going to win. We've talked about that New Orleans teams that he thought wasn't going to win a game, and then they won 10 games. But he said, you're going to tell that there's a difference around here in the culture. And so starting to see the foundations of that is important as early as the offseason program.
And he was like, you want to win like the draft, you want to win free agency, but ultimately it's about winning in the fall.
Exactly.
So he's had some good lines that we can just recall pretty good.
They're really not. Yeah. Good for
nice.
Good memory.
It helps me.
Yeah.
You know, like
word association.
If there's just too much and I can't remember it all, I'm like, what did he say again? I don't have that problem anymore. They're very memorable.
Why
like
use many words?
Yeah, exactly. How does that's
when
Kevin from
when few words do trick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's good. Eric, should we get to our voicemail?
I think so. It's really nice.
We talked about our most important topic.
Ben Swanson.
Yeah. Well, let's get to our voicemail. This is Brock from Los Angeles. We had to edit a little bit of this.
Brock got a little crazy.
We got to the most crucial parts of his voicemail, and here they are.
A lot of questions surrounding Swanson's role moving forward. With Ben missing 3 weeks now, his ability certainly isn't his availability. Prove me wrong, Ben. There might be a spot on the DNVR Broncos podcast with Hank transitioning to a Raiders fan. Love you guys. Bye.
Brock, thank you very much for that. Ben, the floor is yours. Your response.
I can't take a vacation anymore? Sheesh.
No.
4 weeks of vacation. That sounds nice. How do we get those benefits?
Last week, y'all were at the...
I don't take days off. What is that?
How do we get...
You do that every day.
What is vacation?
Yeah, I don't know.
What did you do last Friday, Phil?
Worked.
From home? What
does
that
I was
entail?
here. What are you talking about? Jeez, vacation. Well, it's not just the vacation you went on. You've missed like 1 month's worth of podcasts.
There's a trade. There was a tender.
Gone. You've been gone.
No. Last week, y'all were in Arizona. How was I supposed to do that?
Anybody who was anybody was in Arizona.
No excuses. Play like a winner.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Swanson, great to see you this week. We'll see you about next week.
Yeah, we'll see. And then what did you think about
out of this?
He kind of mentioned another podcast there.
I would rather do no podcast than this podcast.
Than this one?
Yeah.
Well, negative town.
Me too.
Negative town.
I would rather do no podcast than this podcast.
Than this podcast, yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's no podcast he'd rather do than this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're saying we'd rather do no podcast.
Our friends at DMVR, do you think they'd take Swanson or no?
I don't know. We'll have to reach out.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
It was a friendly
I think I have a no trade clause.
Friendly jab from Brock.
Yes.
No trade
with no
clause.
K.
We respect all podcasts.
We like the non-traditional spelling.
That's right.
So, Brock, thank you very much for the voicemail. Keep them coming. How do you do that, Eric?
707 neutral, Phil.
707 neutral. Okay.
Call on
keep
in.
the voicemails coming. And then we also have a comment here from Tom Agnetti, one of our longtime fans of the show. Really our friend.
That's right.
Tom Agnetti. He says that he's been out recruiting for the neutral zone in Virginia. Navy officer came in, saw his Broncos hat, and he wanted to know if we could give him a shout out. It's Lieutenant Commander Granick.
Okay.
Serving on the USS Ford. And his favorite player is Steve Atwater.
Nice. Well, thank you for your service and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Yes. That's Lieutenant Commander Granick. I hope I'm saying that right and it's not Greenwich. Could be. It ends in a C. It's kind of like Jokic.
You think that's what it's probably like?
I don't know. It could be Greenwich or Granick.
Okay, well, maybe I'm gonna shout out both of them.
Yeah. Shout out both.
Yeah.
Both lieutenant commanders.
Correct.
Swanson, you just pipe down over there.
Thank you very much for listening to the show.
With it.
Any other shout outs that you'd like to do, Eric?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the peace and quiet that we had on this show.
It was nice.
It's gone now, but it was nice.
Gone. It was here and it was nice.
Gone.
And now it's gone. Shout out Nikola Jokic, I think.
Yeah, I don't like that this is becoming like a normal thing.
Well, there's like a month and a half left potentially in the season.
For the Nuggets, I don't think that long, right?
I said potentially.
Has he played since the last podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, no offense. I love Jokic.
No, maybe not.
But
no offense.
Well, he's got to get
Swanson
ready.
out here complaining about other people not doing their jobs.
Yeah. Strange, huh?
He's much better at his job than I am.
That's true. Could be a 3-time MVP. 3 consecutive.
but you playing.
Yeah. He's got to get ready. You got to get their body ready for what's about to come.
What's about to come?
It's the playoffs. It's going to be insane. Could be insane. A lot of battling.
That's true.
Any Liz Gerald's,
Liz
of course.
Gerald, shout out to Liz.
Yep.
Some nice community work.
Doing the work in the community.
Anybody else?
I don't know.
Shout out to you two for holding it down. I was listening as a spectator in a while.
We don't need credit.
Yeah, it was.
We don't need credit for just doing our jobs.
Yeah. The
Kind of hope
expectation.
actually no one listens.
It's the expectation. Okay, anything else?
I don't think so, Phil.
I think that's it. We'll be back next week.
What will we talk about, Phil?
Well, there's a lot going on. Eric, the offseason program might be beginning next week. And then the draft is coming up.
That's true.
Yeah. So the draft will be coming up, and there's a lot.
That's true.
We got
some
to
more
get ready for
draft
that.
content.
We got to get ready for that.
Yep.
It's the third round. It means you got to do more homework. It's easy if you're like, hey, you got a top 10 pick. Let's talk about those guys. That's easy.
Yep.
It's child's play. We're talking Hendon Hooker,
Mhm.
top 10 pick potentially. How did that happen, Eric? He's just taken off.
Skyrocket.
Yeah. You're on that ship. You're driving it. You're piloting it.
I believe in his talent.
Yeah. But if you want to start talking about back-to-back picks in the third round, you
Yep.
got to really,
Got to dig in.
the notebook has got to be thick.
You got to know like that Myles Garrett's a free agent.
Yeah.
You got to know that sort of
Exactly.
thing.
That kind of deep knowledge
That's what you need.
of accurate information.
Yep.
If you know that stuff, you'll be ready.
You're
to
ready.
rock. Yeah, you'll be ready.
We'll see
next
if you've
week,
got
maybe.
it.
Next week, we'll see. That's why Ben Swanson's here. His
That's
job
right.
gets harder.
That's right.
As we get closer to the draft.
We'll see if he's here.
He knows all of the prospects.
Yep.
Somehow. I don't know. So that'll be coming up next week. Until then, for Ben Swanson and Eric Dalal, I am Phil Milani. You've been listening to
The Neutral Zone.